Welcome to Carolina Christian. My name's Ernie, and this is our third and final installment in the marriage series. Well, we'll see. There's so much more to teach on marriage, but for now, number one, Paul advises all single folks to just dedicate themselves to the Lord and serve Him for their lives. I won't reference it because it's all in 1 Corinthians chapter 7. So I assume Paul was single. 1 Corinthians chapter 7, verse 6, Paul said, remember the following statements are his opinions or an advice, it's not a commandment. Now, his advice is to single men, single women, widows, widowers. They were to stay single and dedicate themselves to serving the Lord. Admirable. Look at 1 Corinthians chapter 7, verses 32 and 33. He that is unmarried careth for the things that belong to the Lord, how he may please the Lord. But he that is married careth for the things that are of the world, how he may please his wife. So basically his take was, if you're married, it could cause a distraction. Only a single man would say something of that nature, or someone who's been called by God and that's their mission from God for their lives. That's my first point, that he was single. Secondly, in 1 Corinthians 7:1, Paul said, it's not good for a man to touch a woman. Men in Corinth are going, yeah, right. That's gonna happen, or not gonna happen. Now you're probably thinking what I'm thinking. Hey Paul, what happened to it's not good for man to be alone? To quote, say, God? Paul knew that though. And he said, if you can't contain yourself, it's better to marry than to burn. And he's talking about burning with passion. So his advice was, it's better to marry than to commit fornication. Whew. Number two, in 1 Corinthians chapter 7, Paul also says in verse 28, he says that you will have trouble in the flesh. Paul's concerns are spiritual factors that he felt like marriage would affect. A married person would have more concerns for how they would please their spouse rather than having spiritual priorities. So he figures if a person is single and their passion is to serve the Lord, then they should just stay single and serve the Lord. But then again, Paul says, if you're married, then act like you're not and spread the gospel anyway. Then, as well as today, it can become problematic. Now, if both are on the same page, it could work. Take Billy Graham, for example. Number three, remember who you married? If you're equally yoked, both of you are saved believers in the faith. I know it's redundant, but stay with me. Have you spiritually considered who your father-in-law is? You married God's son or daughter. Treat them with honor and respect. You definitely don't want to make your father-in-law angry. Number four, where I work, we get a longevity bonus. After a person has worked there for 10 years, they get a percentage bonus every year after that. A buddy of mine worked for a company that gave them a lump sum bonus. Upon their 25th anniversary for their company, they get $1,000 for each year worked. Oh, your math is right. $25,000 all at once. Here's the key. He had to earn his longevity. I had to earn my longevity. Romans 7:2 and 3 says, this marriage thing, it's till death do us part. Not this, oh, we've grown apart. We're on different paths now. We've fallen out of love. Your marriage promise is more than a promise. It's a covenant, or as we say, a vow to each other and God. I know witnesses are present, but it's beyond them. Ecclesiastes 5:3-5 says, it's better not to vow a vow at all than to not fulfill it. Don't let your mouth cause you to sin. Just live up to your word. It'll pay off in the long run. Finally and lastly, number 5. Jesus said in Mark 12:31, love your neighbor as yourself. Your spouse is more than a neighbor. How much more should you love your spouse? How much more should you love your children? There's a couple in your life that needs to see this series. You've probably even thought of them while you've watched this series. Let's partner together and you share this series with them. But before you do, pray for them. And let's help each other encourage couples to stay the course, to improve their relationship with God and with each other. Liking and subscribing helps the algorithm say, hey, this is a worthwhile video. So like and subscribe and hit the notification bell. But above all, if you don't do that, pray for this ministry, because I know that God's hand on the ministry means everything. Thank you for watching this series. And remember to keep looking up, keep your eyes on Him. God bless.